Hey, it's me, MLB. Here's chapter 5 of Pinpoint. This one is titled As for the Gems. Shoto anxiously watched the clock all day. The minute hand slowly ticked by until it was time for him to make his way over to Yaoyorozu's lab. He gently placed the ruby and the hessonite stone in his pocket and made for the office door, walking quickly through the lobby to the front doors. Once outside, he placed the baseball cap over his head and put on sunglasses. He did this to disguise himself during daylight hours if he wished to remain unseen. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. Children always had a sixth sense when it came to sniffing out their favourite heroes, and more often than not he'd be called out by a passing child. Thankfully though, today he slipped through the crowds of people unnoticed and made his way to Creative Laboratories. Momo Yaoyorozu had become a popular hero, spokeswoman and forensic expert who dealt specifically with items that needed deconstructing to determine their constituents. It was this specific skill set that Shoto was interested in. Yaoyorozu met him at the big double doors of her building. "Welcome, Shoto," she greeted him with a warm smile. "Please come in." Shoto removed his baseball cap and glasses and bowed deeply to show his respect. "Thank you for agreeing to meet with me, Yaoyorozu. I apologize if I've taken up any of your valuable time." "Oh, of course not," Yaoyorozu blushed. "Oh, he's so well-mannered and extremely well-spoken." Yaoyorozu had had a crush on Shoto since high school days at UA, but he had never shown her any special interest, and she had never really had the guts to confess to him. She did, however, like to keep in contact with him from time to time, and she was thrilled when he actively sought out her help. She was hoping this might be her chance to get a little closer to the handsome, stoic man. She led the way down to her private lab, making small talk as they walked. Shoto wasn't much of a conversationalist, but he entertained her light chatter with simple replies, and she was elated that they were at least talking. She pushed her lab door open and beckoned Shoto inside, which he refused until she had entered first. Her heart was aflutter at his chivalry. "Now, what can I help you with?" she asked with eagerness, curious to see what Shoto might have needed from her. "Yaoyorozu, I have 2 stones here, precious stones," he said, pulling the clothed gems from his pockets and gently unwrapping one of them. "The red stone, a ruby, I presume?" Yaoyorozu nodded, taking the ruby from Shoto and looking it over. "It was found in an illegal shipment last night," Shoto said, watching as Yaoyorozu held the ruby up to the light. "I would like to know if this ruby was made from natural processes, or if it was created by a quirk," he said in his matter-of-fact voice. "Sure," Yaoyorozu said, making room on her holographic scanner. "Just a second," Shoto said. Yaoyorozu stopped what she was doing and looked over to Shoto. He had his head lowered, fringe covering his eyes, and it almost seemed like he was nervous about something. "What is it, Shoto?" Yaoyorozu asked, slightly apprehensively. "Could you please see?" Shoto fiddled with the small fabric wrapped around another gem and gently revealed it. Yaoyorozu gasped softly when she saw the gem. "Shoto, it's beautiful," she whispered as she walked over to take a better look. "Where did you get this?" She reached her hand out to take the gem, and Shoto quickly snatched it away protectively. Oh, I'm sorry, My apologies, Yaoyorozu. I shouldn't have acted like that. Forgive me. This stone is very precious to me." No, I'm sorry. I should have asked first." Yaoyorozu retracted her hand. "May I take a closer look?" She tilted her head in a friendly manner. Cautiously, Shoto held out his hand. Yaoyorozu didn't try and take the stone, but looked it over while Shoto held it. "It's a hessonite garnet, correct?" she asked. "I was hoping you could confirm that," he said, relaxing slightly. "I was also wondering if you could tell me some information on who created this," he said, averting his eyes. "You know it was made by a quirk?" Yaoyorozu questioned. Shoto didn't say anything, just nodded silently. "Yes, I can give you some information," she said with a smile. "But, Shoto, I'll need to take the gem and place it on my scanner." He flinched and his grip tightened ever so slightly around the small hessonite. After a few tense seconds, he then gave a slightly resigned sigh and slowly relaxed his hold, handing the gem reluctantly over to Yaoyorozu. She took it gently in her hand and walked back to the scanner with Shoto trailing close behind. She then placed both the ruby and the hessonite on the board and pressed a few buttons. The machine glowed and made some whirring noises, causing waves of panic to rise in Shoto as he watched on apprehensively. Finally, 2 holographic list bars flashed above the 2 stones. Yaoyorozu read both lists in detail, muttering softly to herself. Shoto watched on intently, keeping a close eye on Yaoyorozu's facial expressions. What did you find?" he blurted out suddenly, unable to hide his eagerness any longer. "The ruby is of natural occurrence," Yaoyorozu said, her eyes still scanning the information. "This hessonite, though," she paused, reading the list. Shoto shifted his weight impatiently, so Yaoyorozu continued. "Well, it's definitely made by a quirk. The wielder's DNA is intertwined with the other constituents." She pointed to one on the list. "See here?" Shoto leaned in closer. "This here is ATMNCG, indicating that the chemical compound that makes up the hessonite garnet is of human origin. In this case it's manganese," she said, glancing at him from the corner of her eye. Shoto leaned in closer to study the compound name, completely unaware of his proximity to Yaoyorozu. She froze as his shoulder brushed hers. She was so close she could see the gentle gleam in his right eye, his beautiful facial features captivating her, and she lost herself gazing at him. He slowly turned his face to look at her, his mismatched eyes peering into hers. "What else can you tell me about the person who made this stone?" His sudden question snapped her back to reality, and she retreated a step or two, blushing and looking away. "I can smell the jealousy in the comments already. It's okay, it's Todoroki X Yin. It's fine, he's coming for you. Hopefully he'll be able to find you very soon, so stay tuned for chapter 6.